Before going into DHCP relay agent, it is very important that you understand the DHCP configuration. Now, if you have already done with the DHCP configuration and you completely understood DHCP configuration, now let's start with the DHCP relay agent. So let us read what it is. A DHCP relay agent is a network function usually configured on a router or a layer 3 switch, like who has got a routing capabilities, that forwards DHCP messages between the clients and the DHCP server located on a different network or subnet. Very important, your DHCP client, let's say your mobile phone or your computer, and your DHCP server, they must be located in different networks. They cannot be in the same network. So if you have already seen the DHCP configuration, you already saw that how it works. Like in the same network, you don't have to do anything. You don't need any relay agent. Normally DHCP uses broadcast message, and the broadcast message does not cross the router. The relay agent solved this by converting the broadcasts into unicast messages and sending them to the DHCP server. Now, if you look at here very carefully, if you remember, there was something called DORA. What is DORA? Discover, offer, request, and acknowledgement. Now, so if you look at here very carefully, if I take this one, for example, the first thing that you need to understand, the IP address here, 192.168.1.x is the IP address on this side. Okay. Then if you look on the other side here, is 192.168.2.x. So if you look at here, this is the other side. So this is one network, let's say N1, and this is another network, N2. And if you look at here, their IP addresses are completely different. So we have a client here, and we have our DHCP server here. If you have been through the DCHPv4 recording, I mentioned that you can configure DHCP on a server as well. It doesn't have to be always on a router. Now, if you don't want to write any codes, any configuration, the best way to configure is on a server. Okay. Now, if you look at here very carefully, so whenever he's sending the request, what request is that? That's a discover request. Discover request, and it is a broadcast. So what happens? The request goes to everywhere, the request comes here. And according to the definition, if you look at here, the DHCP uses broadcast message. We are speaking about the discover message, okay? And it does not cross the router. It cannot cross the interface of the router, and it cannot cross the network, okay? So if you know the broadcast domain, so your broadcast message cannot go outside your broadcast domain, okay? And by definition, every router's interface is a broadcast domain. So this is a broadcast domain, this is another broadcast domain. So it cannot go outside the broadcast domain. Now, so why we need a DHCP relay agent? Without a relay agent, the DHCP client can only get IP address from a server in the same network. but we are not talking about in the same network or same subnet. The router blocks the traffic. We are talking about when the DHCP client and the server are in different networks. With the relay agent, you can have a centralized DHCP server that can serve multiple VLANs and subnets. So you will have one server located somewhere, okay, let's say in the headquarters, and it can serve all the locations. So you can have a server that is located in your headquarters is in Sydney. It is located in Sydney, and you can have, let's say, branch offices in Melbourne, Queensland, okay, then Darwin, okay, wherever, doesn't matter. It can be in China, it can be in India, it can be in Japan, doesn't matter. Like your headquarters can serve IP addresses to different locations. It reduces the cost. Now look, the way you configure the DHCP server, it seems like it's super easy. Yes, it's easy, but in the real life it doesn't work like that way. You need to protect your DHCP. There are different types of attacks. Those are related to the DHCP services. So you need to make sure that those things are there as well. And we are configuring a Cisco router or something like on a packet tracer. But in the real life, most people, they will use a different types of server. For example, if I'm talking about Windows DHCP server, they are light years ahead of this Cisco routers configuration. So highly likely, most of the time, organizations, they will configure the DHCP server on a Windows server, and like you need to maintain it, okay, and there are costs associated with that one. And if you have only one, it is easy to maintain, and it is easy to monitor, it is easy to protect as well. So easier management and scalability. Now for example, if you look at here, you have VLAN 10. So your VLAN has to be in different networks. So your VLAN 10 is in one network. Let's say this is network 1. Your VLAN 20 is in another network. This is network 2. And if you look at here, let's say this is your management network. Management network. So you will have your DHCP server in the management network, and he can serve all the other networks, okay. You still can get the IP addresses, but you need a relay agent on the router. You need a relay agent on the router. This is only possible if you have the relay agent. How it works, the client sends the DHCP discover request to whom? To everyone in the broadcast domain. So router will receive it to one interface, and the router will have a relay agent on that interface. Router forwards it as unicast to the DHCP server. So if you look at here, your clients sends a broadcast here, which is a DHCP discover. The router has a relay agent here. He has a relay agent, okay, and do not get confused with RA because it can be used in IPv6 as well. So relay agent, the relay agent here will convert the broadcast. So if you look at here, the broadcast has been converted to unicast, okay, and it will travel all the way to your DHCP server, and all the processes are the same. The DHCP server will be able to hand over an IP address to your client machine, just like they are in the same network, okay. Okay, let's come here. The server replies to the router, okay. The router forwards the unicast to the DHCP server. The server replies to the router forwards the packet to the client, okay. The normal way how it happens. Now let's come back here. So if you look at here, okay, so if you look at here, in this case they are in different networks. This is where we are running the DHCP. I will show you. So if you come here, and if you come to the DHCP, and if you look at here, we are running two pools. Why are we running two pools? Very important. So if you look at here, one pool is for network 1, another pool is for network 2. Okay, 192.168.2.1 and 1.1. One is for network 1, another is for network 2. So if you look at here, there is a computer and there is a server. They both are in the same network. So if you look at here, his IP address. So if you look at here, DHCP, so he got an IP address 2.100, default gateway 2.1, and it is through DHCP, no problems. This is another client in a different network. So if you look at here, he wanted to get an IP address, he got 169.254. If you have already watched the DHCP video, you already know that this is APIPA. Okay, this IP address is of no use. Okay, now we already know that this server has got already DHCP configured for 1.0 network as well. Now what you need to do here, you need to find the interface who will receive the broadcast. Which interface will receive the broadcast? So if you look at here, this is the interface that will receive the broadcast. So you need to have a relay agent here, and the relay agent will convert the broadcast into unicast, and after that we'll send to the DHCP server. Now in order to send to the DHCP server, the relay agent must know the IP address of the DHCP server. Okay, in order to send the request to the DHCP server, the relay agent must know the IP address of the DHCP server. So what you need to do here, you need to configure the enable conf term. Now which interface? Interface gigabit 0/0. And how do you configure the DHCP? So if you look at here, you find the interface, okay, and after that you IP helper address, the IP address of the DHCP server. So if you come here, IP helper address, and you need to know the IP address of the DHCP server. The relay agent should be sending to the DHCP server. What's the IP address of the DHCP server? Okay, now everything has been configured. Look, the IP addresses on this interface and all these things have been configured earlier, so I'm not going to configure these things because I didn't want to waste time. You should know how to configure the IP addresses and all these things. Now come here, static, renew the IP address request. Now if you look at here, he received an IP address which is 192.168.1.100. Okay, and if you look at here, the gateway is this. Okay, now you know that he received an IP address. Now there are many commands, okay, that can be used to verify all these things, but however I didn't configure the DHCP here, so I configured the DHCP here. So if you configure the DHCP on the router, then you will be able to see like there are many commands, okay, that you can use. Okay, so if you look at here, you need to make sure that under the interface, of course, you need to have the IP address, and you put this IP helper address as well. Okay, there are many commands that I can use to verify the DHCP, like show IP DHCP relay. Okay, and there are some debug commands as well, but I didn't configure the DHCP on the router. I configured DHCP on the server, so those commands will give me nothing. Okay, but had you configured those things on the router, have you configured the DHCP pool on the router, you could have used those commands as well. Another important thing to understand, until now what we studied is like DHCP, like we use the helper or the relay agent only for the DHCP, but it is not only used for the DHCP. So if you have a TFTP server located, TFTP, this is a file server located to a different location, like the agent can work for it. If you have a DNS server, then NetBIOS, okay, the relay agent works for all of them, okay. The relay agent works for all of them. Now, in order to configure them, you don't need to do anything like this. If you use the same command, IP helper address, it works for all those services. However, people, they don't speak about those things because in the exam mostly it comes with the DHCP. But for the knowledge, you know that it is not only for the DHCP, it can work for TFTP, DNS, NetBIOS, and you don't have to do anything. By default, it works for all these services.